which is our first standard length episode in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it's really good. It has an interesting plot, our characters are fun, and no vampires. It's strange that a show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer would start off without vampires, but I think it was really important for setting up the world. Giles said at the end of the last episode,
"Not just vampires. The next threat we face may be something quite different."
Which teased that there was more than vampires in Sunnydale, but now we get to double down on that.
There's a veritable cornucopia of fiends and devils and ghouls to engage. Pardon me for finding the glass half full.
We get to see how the team copes with these different obstacles, and we also set up the blueprint for how episodes will play out. Normal teenage problem, something happens, investigate, escalation of the problem, more research is needed, there's a confrontation, and the conclusion. Simple, but it works. And then they have fun breaking out of this mold later on. Which is an important episode for the show, as a lot of the ideas or characters appear in every episode of Buffy. This helps highlight the growth of our characters, while allowing them to remember where they came from. One of the strengths of this show is that characters don't forget what has come before. They don't conveniently forget what happened last episode so that this week's plot can take place. They have to deal with the issues, allowing the characters to feel more real. With that said, let's look at number 1. Amy's mum. Swapping bodies with your daughter to relive your youth and it's still not working out is a fun way to explore the idea of reliving your high school glory. Amy's mum believes that the best days of her life were when she was in high school and will do anything to relive that. But Amy's mum has not figured out that you cannot go back, no matter how much you want to. She cannot force the same outcomes, and because of this, she resorts more and more to witchcraft to remove the competition. You have to wonder, though, why she didn't make herself better with the witchcraft, instead of removing everyone else.
And I can't get my body to move like hers. I choked in there so bad.
But I guess, in her deluded state, she believed that she had to be good enough on her own. We see her getting more and more unhinged as Buffy and the gang get closer to the truth. She goes from disfiguring people to wanting to kill very quickly. And in an effort to punish her daughter for what she calls wasting her youth, she casts a spell that gets herself trapped in her trophy. It's a great way for her to relive her glory days forever. It's also an interesting parallel to what happens to Amy in Season 3's Gingerbread, but we'll cover that later. In contrast to Amy's mum, Joyce finds the whole idea of going back to high school a horrifying notion.
Do you ever wish you could be 16 again?
Oh, that's a frightful notion. Go through all that again?
Even if it did mean that she could understand Buffy better. Amy's mum is so dedicated and convincing as Amy
Why do my hands have to sweat when I get nervous?
that I wondered this time through if the swap didn't happen during the show and not before the episode started. The more you look into it though, the more you can see that it's always Amy's mum. The best example is when Buffy and her are talking at the trophy cabinet. The way she is talking about her dad,
Well, he was a big loser. Never made any money.
making no money and running off with trailer trash, is something a teen might say, sure, but is definitely how a crazy ex would talk. Not to mention the bragging of,
He left my mom with nothing. She put herself through cosmetology school. Bought me everything I ever wanted.
no teen would talk like that. It's all a very convincing performance from Amy's mum. Number 2, love line. So, we have Willow liking Xander, Xander liking Buffy, Buffy seeing Xander as a friend, and Xander seeing Willow as a friend. Something tells me this is not going to work out how everyone wants it to. There is a fun parallel in this episode with Xander and Buffy, comparing Willow and Xander to being their best friends.
That's why you're so cool. You're like a guy. You're my guy friend that knows about girl stuff.
You are totally and completely one of the girls. I'm that comfy with him.
Willow does give the best advice for the episode with
I should ask her out, right?
Won't know till you ask.
number 3, cheerleading cult.
Enslave yourself to this cult?
You don't like the color?
Here in Australia, cheerleading is not a thing in high school, and neither is everybody showing up for school sporting events. So yeah, cheerleading looks like a cult to me. Cheerleading is a way for Buffy to recapture her pre-Slayer calling youth. However, like Amy's mum, she cannot find the same spark again. Her growth as a person from being the Slayer already means that she cannot fit in the way she used to. This means, though, that she's able to act where others cannot. She's able to save the cheerleader when her hands catch on fire. She's also able to help Cordelia because she notices that something is wrong with her. She's even there for who she thinks is Amy when she says,
It doesn't mean that you need to lockstep as far as this cheerleading thing.
she's also the one to figure out that Amy is in her mum's body
Amy?
when no one else had. This shows a level of maturity and compassion that is beyond her years. It is this maturity that means that at the end of the episode, she is able to move on from her past version of herself and move forward, as opposed to Amy's mum, who is trapped forever in her deluded past. I know this investigation is a little shorter than I have been doing, but it's hard in these early episodes to dive too deeply into them without referencing future episodes. As it has been years since I fully watched the show, I want to wait until I get to the future episodes so I can do the analysis properly. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss those future episode analyses. And for now, let's see what other secrets we can uncover next time on Nerdy Investigations.